Hi guys, and welcome back to another very special RAS video with today our special guest for the first time in over a year, Ahowl. Welcome back, my friend.
Good to be back, man. I feel like the time has flown by, but it just feels good to be sitting here talking with you again over a video.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. I mean, not since we spoke, but since we spoke officially on the channel. So, how's the year been? The year off modding, should I say?
The year of unmodding.
Yeah. Negative
It's been
modding.
really, yeah, no, no modding actually. It's been good. It's been really good. Got married
Yeah,
a couple
congratulations.
days after. Thank you. I got married a couple days after we had recorded that last video. Had a wonderful honeymoon. Got sick on the honeymoon, but I still had a wonderful honeymoon. From
Yeah.
there, just kind of got settled into married life and got back to work and just kind of focused on things that were not mod related for a bit. And obviously, I couldn't play any video games either, so
Yeah.
had a lot of free time. Picked up on books. Just
Mm.
did a ton of reading, which we can get into because it's all like kind of related to the mods time frame. And yeah, just generally really had a really good year. Uh, really peaceful and quiet, just kind of like not a lot of stress. Got involved in the community a little bit, got involved in my church, and focused on work a little bit, and just kind of took on the responsibility of what it means to be a husband and making sure my wife's taken care of. We did get a cat,
Yeah.
so that's been its own little adventure. But um, overall, been good. Stayed in touch with a few of the guys on the team through WhatsApp, and that was, I think, really helpful
Yeah.
because I think if I just went total cold turkey, zero communication with everybody, I think it would have made it a little harder. So just being able to have some familiar faces to talk to and get updates on the mod and you know have some talks and then share with them what I'm reading, it was a really good decision. And yeah, so as of this date, I have not played a single video game, and I have not modded a single file.
And
So
now
it's
you're
been
ready
a
to
success.
jump back in.
Yep. So today is Wednesday the 11th. So I officially jump back in tomorrow, the
Yeah.
12th, which I think you guys will see this a day after that. So by the time you guys see this video, I will be fully immersed
Yeah.
into
Ready to
into
get
the
modding
game
again.
again. Yep.
Do you reckon there'll be a crash out by then?
Honestly, like I
I'm
know
joking.
I am notorious for, being the quote unquote howler, uh, crashing out on things, getting very zealous about certain things, or manic over others, and ultimately getting frustrated and just, letting my opinions fly. And I think that's everybody knows where that's coming from. They all know that's coming from like a just honest, hard on the sleeve, uh, like perspective. But at the same time, I feel like this year off has really given me a chance to just kind of think about, you know, not just how I say or what I say, but how I say it,
Yeah.
and realizing that, like as a leader, you kind of have to be the example. And I'm all for honesty. I'm all for people just being real. But at the same time, you know, if everybody's crashing out over everything all the time, uh, it's not a fun place to be in, and progress doesn't get made. So I think I have an opportunity to be a little bit more mindful and a little bit more patient. Uh, but who knows? Could be day one and I'm crashing out over, a bug or something that didn't get made or something.
Yeah. But no, I think that's good. I think that's a good realization to have. And yeah, no, it's cool. It's great to have you back anyway. And obviously people won't know at home, but we've been talking pretty much every week since you left. Mostly not about the mod, just about life and stuff like that. So I do know a lot of what's been going on. And one of the I think the most impactful things for probably the mod, if we talk about the mod, is all this reading that you've done, which has actually inspired me a bit to get my finger out and actually start reading some proper history books. So Yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I know you've covered a lot of books, including a lot of primary sources and all that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually kind of exciting to talk about. I covered a lot of primary sources. Um, I guess it's one of those things when you're dedicating so many hours a week to doing something and then it's taken from you, or not taken from me. Like I chose to do this. So like when I chose to put it on the back burner and not do any of it for one full year, it gives you a ton of time. And I think early on after the honeymoon, as we kind of settled into our life, it was just kind of like, what am I going to do?
Yeah,
And there was a little bit of like a hesitation or like a little bit of an anxiety with that. But ultimately, I realized like in all the years I've done modding, I've ordered a lot of books, and they would maybe get flipped through, or maybe just looked at the section that I needed to make a decision for the mod, but I would never read the book.
yeah,
And one of those books, I think, is what kicked it off, was the Landmark Herodotus. So it's Herodotus, but it's the Landmark version. So if anybody recognizes what I'm talking about, the Landmark is basically a guide to the world of Herodotus as you read it. So there's notes, there's basically a map on every other page, and around the perimeters of the pages, there are like headers and footers and context, and it's basically just saying like this is where you're at, you're in this year, you're in this place, and you're reading about this person. So they give you like quick summaries on
yeah.
the edges of the page, and it basically just it helps guide you through the world of Herodotus. And that book had been sitting on my coffee table for years,
Yeah.
not opened, and it was just like a book that looked cool. And I think it just this whole journey just started, and I'm like, I got plenty of time. I think I'm just going to read this book. And it's a
Yeah.
huge book. If any of you have looked at Herodotus, the histories, it's a giant piece of work. And I just attacked it.
Yeah.
And as I attacked it, I just started getting into it. And I really loved what I was reading. And I started taking notes on it, because even though I wasn't modding, I would still get these ideas and I'd brainstorm. So I figured I'd just take notes and like get ideas, but by taking the notes, it kind of helped further cement the information. So yeah, Herodotus started me on a giant path, and I think I read a total of like 23 books between the time I left the mod and the time I'm back.
Wow, that's cool. And yeah, that the landmark version sounds pretty good because it sounds like something I need because, as most of you know, with ancient history, guys, it can be pretty confusing. There's tons of people with the same name. There's tons of people with crazy names, and they're all doing a lot of stuff, especially in Greece because yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many
Well,
cities and all that sort of thing.
yeah. There's so many cities. There's so many cities that have yet to be found or identified. So that's one thing that's very confusing about these books is like there's names of cities and regions and peoples or rivers, mountains that nobody knows today where those are.
Yeah,
And it's either like we just haven't figured it out yet, or the author was misled. And
yeah,
so, for example, like this is a very niche example, but just he refers to a river by the same name in two places. And in one place, it's the real name of the river. It's the Araxes River. It's in like Armenia. But he also refers to an Araxes River in like Bactria.
yeah,
So when you're reading it, you get confused because you think it's like, does he think that this river flows from Armenia all the way to Bactria? Like maybe he doesn't know the Caspian Sea exists or something. But because of the notes, which are very helpful, it's like, oh, maybe he took the Jaxartes River, which is what's out there in Bactria.
yeah,
Maybe he read that as the Araxes. So maybe he thinks there's two Araxes rivers. So if you didn't have context and notes in the maps and you're reading Herodotus, it'll confuse you because you don't know where he's at.
yeah,
What's he talking about? I thought he was talking about this river over here, but now he's talking about the exact same river but in a different world or land. And the commentary just really helps figure out what's what and who's who.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. And yeah, 23 books. I know a lot of them have been on a whole. Well, it's been a whole wide-ranging sort of subjects and stuff like that. But you obviously read the book on the Persians, which I've got actually on my shelf behind me, guys, which I hopefully will read soon. So you read from all the way from the Persians, but a lot of it was the Greek sort of primary sources, wasn't it? So
Yeah, yeah. I started with Herodotus, and that's kind of like probably like 700 BC. So he starts with Lydia. He starts with the kingdom of Lydia with Croesus. Um, if that's how you say his name, I'm probably gonna butcher names. It's okay.
it's fine.
Um,
Don't worry.
yeah, it. But he starts with him, and he basically tells the story of how the Persian Empire came into being for
Yeah.
like the first four books, and then the last 4 books or 5 books, I think it's 9 books total. It's basically a narrative of the Persian Wars. So I didn't realize, like, and that's what's interesting. When you start reading things, you kind of start putting things together. I did not realize that Herodotus is the main source for the Persian Wars, and I was the lead modder for a team that's like focused on historically accurate maps and resources and units.
Yeah.
Here I am not realizing that Herodotus is the primary source. So that was really fascinating. And as I was reading it and finishing it, I realized that I kind of wanted to go in chronological order. So
Yeah.
naturally, after Herodotus, you have Thucydides. Thucydides is the narrator of the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta.
Yeah.
So as I'm reading this, I'm learning a ton about the Greeks. I'm becoming fascinated with Athens, fascinated with Sparta, wishing there was more info out there about Thebes,
Yeah.
um, and really fascinated with the Persians. And so I ended up finding, I started researching different primary historians. There's a whole plethora of them out there. Unfortunately, most of them are either their works are either completely lost, or we have just very small fragments. And so, for example, after I read Thucydides, I read this one guy. His name's Theseus, and he wrote a history of Persia.
Yeah.
But he was like highly criticized by scholars in like the 19th century and 20th century. So he wasn't really given a lot of credit. But apparently he was really popular to read in the ancient times. So I was able to find a work on him that tried to piece together his narrative by using fragments. And I felt like I learned a lot about the Persian court, like how kings and queens and princesses, nobles and eunuchs, and kind of how the inner dynamics of how they were. It was
Yeah.
really cool, and it was almost like a drama. And now I can understand why maybe scholars might criticize him because he might maybe like romances it. But for me, it added a lot of life to the world.
Yeah.
And so even the smaller historians were really a great read. But from Thucydides and Theseus, I moved on to Xenophon, and he has a lot of work out there. But his Hellenica carries on the Peloponnesian War because, fun fact, Thucydides, his Peloponnesian War gets cut off in the middle of the war. He just stops writing,
Yeah.
so nobody knows if it's like, did he die, or he was an Athenian, so did he just stop writing out of shame because they were losing?
He's
Uh,
like, I'm not recording the history anymore because we lost.
yeah, there's like debate. So Xenophon picked up where Thucydides left off in his Hellenica, and he wrote in the style of Thucydides, so it could be congruent with the Peloponnesian War history. But then once the Peloponnesian War ends in Xenophon's narrative, he then writes in his own style the history going forward, and he was an Athenian who was a pro Spartan oligarch. So this, talk about interesting, right? Like, this
Yeah.
is a guy who, he was part of the great story of the Anabasis, where he marched with the 10,000 Greek mercenaries. He fought with Cyrus the Younger against his brother for the throne of Persia. Well, he loses. He gets killed. Cyrus does in the battle. And so
Yeah.
these 10,000 Greeks are just stranded in the middle of Mesopotamia, and they have to make this arduous journey back home. And his whole story is about that journey. Like they have to go through the elements, like freezing conditions. People are like literally dying and freezing. They have to face like these hostile tribes. They have to navigate like these rugged mountains and like think of like Armenia, the Caucasus, Eastern Turkey.
Yeah.
And then it's like there's a lot of like bickering between the Greek mercenaries about who should lead and what they should do. And
Yeah.
Xenophon kind of presents himself as like this ultimate leader. And he was a student of Socrates. So he was very Socratic about like no being noble and
Mm.
honorable, and but he paints himself as like the guy who knows best. And so it's kind of just interesting. Like you're fascinated by the story, but you're also kind of like, okay, he's pumping himself up for sure. Like nobody
Yeah.
really knows what actually happened, but he sure makes himself look like the hero. So this guy became exiled from Athens because he went like on this mercenary trip, and he befriended a few Spartans on the along the way. And so the oligarchs of Athens were overthrown at this point. He gets ostracized, and so he lives south of Elis. The Spartans gave him an estate, and he wrote his histories there. And so he was a friend of the Spartans. And so the rest of his narrative in the Hellenica is a very pro-Spartan narrative. And he really likes to like, I want to use the proper terminology because I don't want you to get censored, but he like gushes. I'll say he gushes over this king of Sparta. His name is
Yeah.
Agesilaus or Agesilaus. I don't know how to say it, but he was a cripple. He had like a lame leg, but he was like one of Sparta's greatest leaders, and he just kind of like goes on and on about his campaigns and how wonderful he was.
Yeah.
And eventually, the Spartans lose to the Boeotians, and it's just a really good history. But because I get the landmark editions, um, it was interesting to see scholarship pointing out a lot of his flaws, a lot
Yeah.
of things that he omitted. So he kind of so Sparta and the Boeotians when they fought, it was like think about like the 370s BC. It was the Boeotians underneath. Oh, I don't know how to say his name. Ep- Epimenides, I think you say his name, and then there's another guy. So these are like the leaders of Thebes, and they're stronger than Sparta, and they beat them at the Battle of Leuctra, and then they beat them at the Battle of Mantinea. What Xenophon omits is these two leaders are responsible for the formation of the city of Megalopolis,
Cool.
which is a city and a faction in our mod.
Yeah.
Uh, and then he also omits the founding of Messene or refounding of Messene. And it's because these are two things that like weakened the Spartans' position. So if you think about Thebes beats Sparta so badly that they found a new city strategically located to keep Sparta hemmed in, and
Yeah.
then they take away the land of Messene and give it to the local inhabitants to form their own state. And that's why, at the beginning of our mod, nothing really changed with Sparta's starting position. So in the beginning of your mod, you can see that they're hemmed in by two factions, Megalopolis and Messene, and it's because of the Boeotians, led by Thebes. And it's just funny because it's like and it's not a good look for Sparta. Xenophon doesn't really mention it,
Yeah.
and just like I know it's like super detailed and niche, but I just was fascinated learning stuff about that.
Mm.
But then I realized like there was a lot of gaps that needed to be filled, and I ran into this one historian. His name is Diodorus.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude! That is a huge history. Um, he wrote his history. It's a 40-book history, and they call it a universal history.
Mm.
And it's basically he just takes like all these sources and combines them into like one narrative. It's it's wild. And it's through him that you actually learn about Megalopolis and Messene,
Yeah.
because he wasn't biased. He was just a guy that was like living at the time of Caesar. he was just a guy recording everything that he was reading and like summarizing everything into this giant history. So he didn't really have a bias. Um, so it's like you learn a lot about history, but you also learn a lot about the authors, the historians.
Yeah.
But from there, I ended up going to Alexander. So I read all of this. There's 5 sources on Alexander. I read all 5 sources. That was a lot. And then most recently, I've read all the Diadochi Wars. Very fascinating. It's like a realistic Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And I have just started Polybius. So basically, I've read all the way up until the point where the mod starts. That was kind of the goal, too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, nice. That sounds good. Yeah, I mean, like the sources wise, I'm currently reading a book on Carthage, and like it's just so interesting because there's literally like no sources ever from their side because obviously of what the Romans did to Carthage. So
yeah,
it's all from a negative perspective. Literally even the Greek sources because of Syracuse like still view Carthage negatively. So yeah, it's just interesting.
Sacrificing babies to Baal and
yeah, exactly. Even though the Romans sacrificed Gauls to stop them sacking the city multiple times.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like pointing the finger and be like, "Oh, they sacrificed children."
Yeah.
When it's like, maybe they did it too, and they just make the Phoenicians or Carthaginians look so detestable.
Yeah. Well,
so detestable that Lusitano gets enraged about it every time.
Fair enough. It is like they literally, but I mean, it's just early propaganda, right? It's just we are justified in conquering these people, and then, as the centuries go on, the propaganda becomes less and less. Like they seem to justify stuff less and less because they basically sort of come to the idea that they have the divine right to conquer things. Like so,
isn't it like wasn't the saying "Carthago delinda est"?
Yeah, autem senseo caterem. I can't remember the full quote actually.
Yeah, me neither. But Carthage must be destroyed, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So Cato,
even though they were really not really. I mean, I haven't gotten that far in my readings, but as far as I know, they weren't really posing a threat at that point.
I haven't quite got to that point. I'm at Agathocles at the moment, which yeah, it's pretty cool. I absolutely love Agathocles. Not gonna lie.
Dude, Agathocles, talk about an interesting character.
Yeah, I think that
he did some good things, but he did some bad things.
Yeah, but who didn't back then? Like literally everyone. Like in order to keep your realm together, you'd have to do some pretty terrible stuff.
Well, what's interesting about Agathocles is the only source that we have on Agathocles is Diodorus.
Yeah.
So think about it. Diodorus pulled from multiple sources to write his narrative, and they believe that he pulled from 2 sources. I can't remember both of them at the top of my head, but one of them was very anti-Agathocles and wrote really harshly about him, and the other one was like basically part of his court and with him and like wrote like about all of his great deeds. And Diodorus chose to pull from both.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like I feel like you get like a really balanced view of this guy. Like he did some pretty terrible things, but he was also a really strong leader and like kept Syracuse alive. And almost conquered. Pretty interesting. Well, almost conquered Carthage.
He's almost like this. There's going to be some historians that absolutely despise what I'm about to say right now, but it's almost like he's a Sicilian Pyrrhus in a few ways. But
careful there.
Yeah, people are going to be absolutely fuming over that statement, but oh well, I don't care.
My opinion is I forget what exactly drew him back to Syracuse. I think there was some factionalism or unrest.
Yeah,
but him going back to Syracuse or Sicily and leaving his son in charge of the army, bad decision. I mean, he basically conquered all of Carthaginian territory in Africa, and he even fought with the Numidians, and couldn't finish the job. I mean, he was there campaigning for years. I mean, it started off as an epic campaign. I mean, literally, dude is besieged in Syracuse. Burns his ships. Yeah, like sneaks out with his ships and attacks the attacker. Like that's like an Age of Empires move or something. And then his whole encounter with the king of Cyrene or Kyrene of Felus.
Yeah.
Said, hey, come join my army. Guy brings this huge army. They have a feast. Kills him.
Yeah.
Takes his army.
So in the book as well, it's obviously it talks a lot about the archaeology of the place because obviously because of the sources, and they actually said that in they found evidence that the Cyrenicians were in some way like incorporated into Carthage into Carthage at some point. Some of the soldiers that fought there. So I'm assuming Agathocles gave them a deal. They fought for him for a bit, and then the Carthage came up with a better deal. So
Yeah, I mean both nations used mercenaries like
oh
crazy.
yeah,
And so it really was what's our best chance of getting paid well, and then after that what's our best chance of winning and survival. And so like it is really interesting as you get closer to the time of our mod, how there wasn't a lot of like nation state pride like there was in the Peloponnesian War.
yeah,
Um, the Peloponnesian War really kickstarted the world of mercenaries
yeah,
because the world of Greece was at war for 30 years.
mm.
And when the war ended, there's all these soldiers, and the Persians were employing them, Syracuse was recruiting them, Carthage was recruiting them. So it's very interesting. And then you get to the point where you are now, which is like the late 300 BCs. You just have this huge influx of mercenaries, and not just Greeks, but in that
Oh yeah,
area, you had Numidians, Libyans, Iberians, Ligurians,
Sardinians.
Celts,
Yeah,
Italics, like Campanians and Bruttians and Lucanians. Like, it's just wild. And then, like, you see, I read just recently how the Mamertines, like, kind of set up shop in Messana, um, and kind of form their own little mercenary rogue state,
yeah,
which will be a faction in the mod, and it'll be cool, kind of cool to simulate. But yeah, man, it's just an interesting time, and like these soldiers will just go side to side. Uh, and it's also very similar to the veterans of Alexander,
yeah.
where so many people will they'll just kind of switch sides to the other general if the general like says the right words.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of the stuff that I've been reading, just I think the fourth century BC, like this idea of like royal lines and like legitimacy coming from ancestors is kind of at that point not really that well established until Alexander. And then
Mhm.
obviously the Diadochi basically just rely on their closeness to Alexander in terms of their legitimacy in ruling. But before then, it was
Yeah.
basically just like a free for all of whoever was the strongest. You can become the king, or you can become the consul, or you can become the not necessarily consul in Rome. I'm talking about like the Greek cities. Consul's probably the wrong word, but whatever the word for each city, because every single city had a different name for its rulers. But
Yeah, they all did it. They all had different governments,
yeah,
but I
um,
get what you're saying.
but it was just like oh like for example Agathocles was pretty much a mercenary to start his career, and then he becomes king of Syracuse, and it's like, or shall I shouldn't say king, tyrant of Syracuse, but
He was a renegade from Rhegion and kind of wound up in Syracuse, worked his way up through the military, set himself up as tyrant because they were kind of weak in leadership. And then I think he eventually became a king. He styled himself as a king at the same time that Ptolemy, Cassander, Antigonus, and them were styling themselves as kings. So it was like
yeah.
I believe 306 BC. He kind of caught wind. Oh, they're all saying that they're kings now, and he's like, "Well, I'm a king too."
Yeah,
um, but yeah, like Sparta had kings. They had two kings. They were very traditional, and that was kind of not really disturbed at all the way through the end of their regime. Uh, Athens had an interesting system. They had like a archon, but the archon was elected like every year, and certain guys would be archons multiple times, but like they were more of a democracy, right? So,
yeah,
and they're not just a democracy like what you would think about today. This is like a radical democracy. It's literally like the 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 beggar on the street and the noble of the city have the same like power. And like, so whatever the populace wants, the populace got. And if
Well,
that
as
meant
long as they were male and a citizen, but like citizens, there weren't that many citizens
right, they
compared to
had to, so
actual
that, yeah,
population.
and that's the thing. It's like a very interesting quote unquote democracy. They had to be men and they had to be citizens. So,
Yeah.
uh, but for their time though, that was a very radical thing because it didn't matter like how much money any of them made. It wasn't based on class or power. But you would have guys like Pericles or uh, oh, who's the character that I forget his name, but there was a guy in the Peloponnesian War that was just all for himself, and he went to Sparta, and then he went to the Persians. I forget his name. Oh, no, I forget his name. Oh, Alcibiades, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
He, if they had money, they could basically exert a lot of power because of influence and bribery and whatnot. But it was just an interesting system because the most tragic thing that the Athenian government did is after a sea battle in the Peloponnesian War where they won this sea battle. There was
Yeah.
10 generals.
I think I know what you.
There's
But
10 generals. They win the sea battle, but there's bodies floating in the water, and it was custom and it's kind of like a sacred ritual to recover the bodies of the slain. But
yeah.
there was a great storm coming, and so if they would have tried to stay and recover the bodies, the storm might have wiped out the rest of their navy. So they made a decision to abandon the bodies. Well,
Yeah.
two of the generals, who were more oligarchic, raced home to Athens and then blamed all the other generals for that decision. And
Yeah.
it whipped the assembly into a frenzy. And next thing you know, you have all your youngest and brightest and bravest generals getting executed over something that is, I guess tragic, but somewhat understandable.
Yeah.
And that's just like what radical democracy led to. But then, you had oligarchy, which is like the other extreme where you just have like a select few guys that are in charge of the entire city. So it's just like really interesting throughout the Greek history to see cities flip-flopping between democrats and oligarchs,
Yeah.
um, and just constant, not just external warfare with city-state and city-state, but internal warfare with different factions,
Yeah.
whether it be the oligarchic faction, the democratic faction. One of the most brutal cases is in Corcyra, which is that island off of Epirus, or course I think you say Corcyra, but the Democrats and the oligarchs of that city basically got so crazy with each other that the Democrats drove the oligarchs out into the mountains, and the oligarchs would then raid the city and plunder it, and they were like wild men. And then the Democrats finally had enough, went up and slaughtered all the oligarchs. And it's like these are people of the same city,
Yeah.
like, and at the same time they're allying separately with like Illyrian tribes, with Athens, with Sparta. It's crazy how for 30 years these city states, both internally and externally, were at like a constant state of war.
Yeah.
And I really do think that's like what led to Philip and Alexander eventually just subduing all of them. Like for like 150 years, they just kept fighting.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, yeah, then Kingdom of Macedon becomes strong and it's just kind of, it's just, we all know that happened, but like when you actually read all of it and you're in the granular details of the story, it's just so fascinating how that came about.
Yeah. No, cool. Brilliant. Well, yeah. We've talked quite a lot about the history that we've been going through in the last year. So shall we move on to the mod a bit? What you're excited about coming back? Well, first of all, are you looking forward to being fully back modding? I guess is the first question.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm definitely looking forward to being back. No doubt about that. I'm very excited. Been thinking about it a lot. But I have my reservations too, and I think This is just more of like a life thing, like a little bit more of a. I don't want to get too philosophical or anything, but I'm 32 years old. I'll be 33 in May. My wife and I have been married almost a year now. We do want to have children, and being away from something that I'm so passionate about for so long gave me a lot of perspective on life.
Yeah.
And like, if I were to die today, the mod means nothing. You know, like at the end of the day, I had a passion. I led a team. We made something really fun and cool. It taught me a lot about communication, leadership, friendship. But like at the end of the day, it doesn't mean a lot. Like it doesn't make me money. It doesn't provide for my family. But with that being said, I still love to do it. And so with it's been an interesting year because I've learned about balancing. They call it dialectic behavior. I've been in counseling and just kind of like learning, you know, how easy it is to be all or nothing, black and white.
Yeah.
When reality is most cases in life, both things can be true, and you find yourself in a taking a middle ground, a balanced approach. So yes, I'm like super excited to be back, but I'm more curious to like, how can I be this time around after being a year off and learning so much about life and just kind of balancing who I am and what I do with my time.
Yeah.
So where I can be an effective leader, an effective modder, really help galvanize and energize the team. We can get releases out and have fun and like feel successful. Like I definitely am going to go for all that, but in a manner that doesn't neglect my duties as a husband, as a employee, as a man of the community, as a man in the church. Like it's not like I don't want to liken it to like, oh, this guy's an addict and then he goes to rehab for a year and then he comes back out and relapses
Yeah.
like modding is like cocaine or something. But I would say like it's just more like how do I approach modding? And I should approach it in a more balanced approach. Like more like, hey, I have some time allotted just about every day to do some of this, but I maybe the tasks that I give myself need to be congruent with that time allotted.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, I would say, well, I have 2 hours. Now I'm going to go tackle this big, huge project. And it's like 2 hours comes up in a flash and you're not done. And now you're at a conflict because you have to get off the computer. You got to get going somewhere. But you're in the zone. You're making a ton of progress. And maybe you're not even at a savable state. And that would kind of just get the ball going in the wrong direction for my day a lot in the past, where everything the rest of the day just felt like I was behind the eight ball. And it was just because I stuck on the computer for too long. So I'm excited, but I guess I just want to be a better manager of time and energy and like headspace when it comes to it. So don't want to get super philosophical or anything, but I think when you're away from something for a year, you can't not think about those things.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, I feel like that's quite a strong statement to say that it doesn't matter that much, but um,
It does and it doesn't. Like, don't get me wrong. It matters a
I
lot.
know,
I
I
wouldn't
know
be
what you mean.
I
I'm
wouldn't
just
be
saying that I
doing it.
think people will probably misconstrue that as that you don't care about the mod when you clearly do quite a bit. So yeah,
I mean,
I
good
just want
thing
to be
we're not
clear
in
on that.
it's a good thing we're not in the political podcast world where they can clip that and then put headlines on.
Yeah,
Like, Ahowl says he doesn't care about the mod. Um, I obviously care about the mod. I think it's just more of an internal realization that the mod is not life.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hope that makes, if anybody is having trepidations listening to this, which I don't think there will be, but if any of you are like, oh, he doesn't care, it's not what I said. I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. Just like anything that you do, at the end of the day, like, and so I think it's just more of prioritizing my time to the things that do matter, like my family, my job, my role in the community, stuff like that really does matter. Whereas like this, though it matters, if I'm neglecting everything else in my life to do this, I think anybody could see that and be like, hey, maybe you're not prioritizing things correctly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I think it's just, yeah, you just don't want to get misconstrued. But I understand what you're saying anyway. But yeah, no, cool. So in terms of the stuff from the last year, you've been keeping up with the videos, I assume. So what
Yes.
what areas are you pretty excited to come back to? I would say.
The map for sure is at the top of my head. I've been able to stay in contact with quite a few of the guys, and they've been really good about providing me updates and also dealing with my annoyances. Um, so the map,
Yeah.
and I think from what I know, they're almost done uh, getting that cut. So I'm not gonna say too much about it because I really don't know, but I am eager to just kind of see where they're at with that, and then kind of help them push them over the edge. And then the Roman units, I haven't really seen them. I've seen pictures and I've
Yeah.
seen like the stuff that was shown on YouTube, but I haven't like gotten to see them. So that'll be fun. And then honestly, I'm really interested in seeing how the new economy is,
Yeah.
and just all the new buildings and resources. That was something that I kind of like wanting to get set in motion before I left, and I think they took that and they did really well with it. So just really excited to see everything they've done, and kind of just jump in and kind of just take it all in.
Yeah. Maybe you should play.
I don't know, man. I just talked about prioritization and
Well, it's not
every,
playing. It's beta testing, bro. That's what
yeah,
that's what I say
yeah.
anyway.
Maybe if I frame it as beta testing, but um, no, I just thought it was kind of funny. Like if I came back tomorrow and I'm just like playing vanilla, like, hey guys, I'm over here
Vanilla,
playing
yeah.
a game.
No, you can't play
And
vanilla.
everybody's just like, what are you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm playing games. What do you want me to
You're
do?
literally there in a Centurion outfit going, Gods, I hate
Yeah.
Gauls.
Yeah, no, I do want to play the game. I think again, I don't want to get too philosophical, but I had a lot of time on my hands to just reflect. And I hope anybody that has any like questions from what I was saying before, I'm just open with my thoughts here. It's neither right or nor wrong, neither here nor there. But one thing I miss, I think, is I did not really play a lot of games when I was modding. Um,
Yeah.
and I do miss that. Like, you find yourself, it's one of those things like when you don't have it, you crave it. And I found myself wanting to play like all kinds of games. And I watched Little Known Secret. I watched all of your vanilla Let's Plays from when you first started doing YouTube.
Yeah, true, yeah.
And I don't know, that just made me
High
appreciate
quality
vanilla.
content, guys. High quality content.
Watch his first Julii campaign on OG Rome Total War. Get to the final episode and we'll definitely make your comments beneath and see how that went.
You dickhead.
That's the best episode you've ever done. Um, but I honestly just had so much appreciation for vanilla um, through watching that. Just how the map was designed,
Yeah.
the factions, the balance, the goofiness, but just the challenges. Like I get it. I get why Egypt was Bronze Age Egypt with chariots.
Yeah.
Um,
It's funny
they
to
just
think
provide
there's
such
literally Bronze
they
Age in
they
most
just
of the things.
yeah they just provide such an in-game challenge for most factions. Um, especially in your Roman campaigns, Egypt was such an annoyance. But watching your Parthian campaign was so much fun too.
Yeah, that
Just
was
seeing you
fun.
horse archer everybody to death.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just think like I'm looking forward to probably playing once it's in a state where I feel like it's worth me playing. Um, I think by playing, I may get a better sense as to like what's really going on, and I might be able to find things I really love and things I'm like, I don't know about this, in a
Yeah.
way that's easier to understand than when you're just like reading beta logs and reading
Yeah. Yeah.
spreadsheets or team discussions. I think everything seems good in a discussion, in a chat, and a log, but until you start playing it, you kind of realize, oh, this is not that good, or oh, this is actually amazing.
Yeah.
So I get it. I think I'm going to try to play this year.
Yeah. Nice. Good. And then maybe next update video we'll be able to say you finally played the mod.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll have to see how
don't be
far
too
away
hasty.
that. How, yeah, don't be too hasty now. But we'll have to see how close or far away that update video is. Because
Yeah.
as far as you and I know, I don't mind hinting at it. We have a lot of work between each other that we're going to be providing for this channel.
Yeah.
So who knows how soon we'll be getting to that.
Yeah, I don't know. We will see.
I
It
don't know
depends.
either.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, we have, I'll tell you guys, we have so many videos like pre-planned, but we have no idea if we're gonna actually do them, or when. It's
Yeah.
just really just. I think the next few weeks to a month are really gonna determine like where this car is driving to.
Yeah, cool. So let's talk about the future then. So, what are the goals for the mod going forward? Do you have any in mind, or do you have anything in sight, or are you literally just playing it by ear at the minute and seeing what happens?
Um, I'll go with the safer answers just because I haven't been able to talk to the team yet, and I don't really know what people want to be communicated and what we want to maybe keep quiet about. So I don't want to be too boring either. So I would say that we want to see a release, or I want to see a release sooner than later.
Yeah,
I don't think we've seen a release since I think April of 24, and that's a long time. We're in March of 26, so we're basically 2 years away from our last release. And I know as well as you do that what people are playing right now publicly, like especially the recruitment system, is so far from what we have right now in the beta that it's
yeah.
like a different game.
Oh yeah,
And
it's totally
and
different.
the economy totally different, and we have all the factions on the map. We have a bunch more units. Like there's just so many. It's so different, and so I think we just want to see a release.
Yeah,
I think I can go out on a limb and say that, not speaking to my team, but I would assume that they probably are all kind of itching to get something released out too. So we're gonna have to like talk about that. We're gonna have to see like, okay, like what do we want to release?
yeah,
Good news, it will be some sort of Romans.
yeah,
Um, so Rome definitely will be the primary focus of the next release.
mm,
It's just a matter of what else are we going to include in that release. I
yeah,
know the economy will be completely overhauled, but beyond Rome and the economy, we have some things to work out. So I'm really looking forward to that.
yeah,
That's the main goal. I think the goal after that mainly is like, how do we get the mechanics to where we want them to be, to where they're set in stone, and we can just focus on the work and not on conceptualizing what the work is.
yeah,
Um, Getting the team on the same page, figuring out this is the roadmap, and then just going for it. Like after this release, whenever we do it, maybe we can get the other release much sooner.
yeah.
And we can build off that because we're not spending so much time
With
conceptualizing
mechanics.
or discussing
Yeah,
or fixing limitations that we've met, but we just know what the work is and we just get to it. I feel like the last 6 months of my tenure there, it was just filled with discussion, debate, frustration, tired. When is this going to end? Oh my gosh, another issue. Oh no, another limit.
when is this gonna
What if,
end?
yeah, what have we done? Like, and it's just like, wow. I felt like every other day the plans are changing, and that was mainly me. Like I was having a hard time figuring out what to do because it was just like, crap, the game is basically broken.
Yeah.
um, so that was a hard time, and I just think like hopefully this last year, like the team is more like stabilized, and like they're just focusing on the work. And when I come back, we can just focus on the work and get everything kind of organized and like where do we need, where are we at, where do we need to be, what's kind of missing, what are we behind on, and just kind of go after it. Because if we can just kind of maybe get a system going, maybe we don't have to wait 2 years between releases, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, after the Romans, you could expect Carthaginians, Iberians, like not just Iberians, but Celt-Iberians, right? And
Yeah.
then Gauls,
Arse.
Galatians, you know, and then eventually we'll get into the eastern areas, the Germans. So it's like the goal would be to get the mechanics in place so we can just focus on the units and the factions and the cultures and just add like depth and immersion and just different variances of cultures and factions to like, depending on where you play, you get kind of a little bit of a flavor difference.
Yeah.
And then I guess from there, I mean, who knows? Maybe some regional campaigns, some more like fun scripts for the player that kind of like walk you through your conquest journey, especially as Rome. Like, how cool would it be as Rome? Like, as you conquer the map, you just kind of figure out like you're giving like you're getting like these pop-ups, kind of like telling you about your conquest. And I don't know. Mods have done that before. Like the Lord, think
Yeah.
about the Lord of the Rings mod, right? Um, where it kind of just you're kind of walking through history a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we make a game mode like that. I don't know, man. I've had so many ideas, but really, I'm looking forward to just getting this next release out, and I'm really hopeful. I'll say hopeful,
Yeah.
really hopeful that it's in 2026.
Yeah. Cool. That sounds good. And yeah, like we say, we are going to keep on with the update videos, and then when obviously we're closer to release, we are going to be doing a few videos, RAS weekends once again, to go through the release, because there is a lot of change with the beta, and like you say, it does genuinely feel like a brand new game when you play the beta. It feels unreal, like the recruitment, the trade goods, the economy. The governance systems, very similar to Europa Barbarorum. Like, it just adds so much depth to the campaign map. And obviously, the more units that are released, the better it is, isn't it? I mean, there's going to be quite a few units, not just Roman units released as well. There's a few other factions that have had updated rosters too, or at least half updated rosters. So that's really, really cool. So yeah, fantastic.
Well, let me ask you a question. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to playing a Roman faction against Carthage one day. But in this next release, a Roman faction into Greece. Unfortunately, it has to be the green ones. But and as we've talked about multiple times, we both despise the Brutii, so that goes over
Yeah,
onto
but they're the
the green
Emilii,
faction.
bro. It's the Emilii.
Yeah,
It's a different vibe.
I know,
They're just green.
But they're green. Fuck green Romans, bro. Greens for barbarians, bro. No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that. Either that, or I actually played on the beta not too long ago. I played an Epirus campaign, and honestly, that was insanely fun because I got through. I basically took Thessaly, Pella, and then was sort of trying to fight the Macedonians out of the mountains around Pella, to the west of Pella. I can't remember exactly what's that mountain range called. I can't remember.
I wish I knew. I know it starts with a P.
Where Mount
but
Olympus is, yeah. Yeah, I can't remember. Sorry. Sorry, Greeks. But yeah, sorry. And literally, as I was fighting that battle there, the Romans landed. And here they came with a full stack army of Hastati, and some Principes and a couple of Triarii and Equites. And I was like, oh dear. Right on the Illyrian coast. And I had to like literally rush back and try and fight the Romans, all the while defending the new lands taken in Macedon. So that was just so fun. So I'm very much looking forward to playing either the Green Romans or playing a faction that is going to come into contact with them pretty early in the game. So yeah, and for me, the biggest thing is just the recruitment, governance, and economy. Just the campaign map stuff. Everyone out there knows that I'm a campaign map nerd. I absolutely love it. So I'm genuinely extremely excited to dive into. I mean, I have already dove. I have already dove into it. That sounds weird, but I have already dove into it. Dived into it. There we go. I have already dived into it, but in terms of once it's all done, because it's not all quite in the beta yet. So it just as a package, it's just mechanically so much better than the current version, I would say. And just there's so much more depth, but it's not depth that's too complex or too confusing like EU5. Bit of a subtle dig at Paradox there.
Oh,
because
dang.
I mean,
Brand new game.
Yeah, that game just like a lot. It's a lot of it feels complexity just for complexity's sake in that game, but we're not going into.
I don't know what's more controversial: me talking about it's not that modding isn't that big of a deal, or you saying EU5 is too complex.
No, it's not. It's not too complex. It's actually the right amount of complexity. It's just that certain mechanics are literally just made complex just to add extra layers to the game without actually adding proper depth, like real depth. It's just like sort of gimmicks, really. I would say with some of the systems.
I like how CK2 could still be looked at as superior to CK3.
Yeah, exactly.
Did I just say that?
Yeah, you're trying to get me cancelled, bro. Like everyone, all the Paradox bros are gonna hate me, but they're not gonna watch this video, so that's all right.
Yeah, I know they're gonna see. I will say, if any of you guys are Paradox Imperator Rome fans and you're watching this, thank you. I hope you guys are willing to give RES a shot. It's not Imperator Rome or that awesome mod that they come with that Red's been playing so much, but I do appreciate any interest from that side of gaming. But yeah, man, I'm with you. Like, I think, because you've asked me these questions, and I was just kind of like, as we've been talking, I've been thinking about it. I do want a complex game because I want a challenge, but I don't want it so complex that it's like people have no idea what's going on, and it's just too frustrating. And like if you want to get a unit and you want to upgrade his armor, but you need like XYZ ABC 1 2 3 just to get the upgrade. That becomes a little much, because then you're like, okay, I have one city that can upgrade my unit. Man, those guys look tired.
Look at them. They've won the battlefield, but they are miserable.
Yeah, I just I like, hey, you need resource X plus building Y to get this outcome.
Yeah, but that's so good in the new version.
If we're doing like 15 different things to get a single outcome, it's like, okay, we don't want the players to have to like work. You want them to play. And if you have to march your full stack armies to a particular city just to get the upgrade every time, that seems a bit much. But I think that's what's going to happen with beta testing and balancing is we want to make it complex and challenging, but we also want it fun and intuitive. And let me underscore and bolden intuitive. It needs to be able to make sense. We can't be forcing round pegs in square holes.
Yeah, exactly.
Or is it the other way around? Square pegs in the round holes.
Yeah. And I will just say as well, picking up on the Imperator Rome point, if there was anyone out there who does just watch the Imperator videos, fair play. Thank you for watching this as well. But I would give RAS a chance. It's if you like original Rome Total War from back in the day, maybe you grew up on it, or you like Medieval 2, you can kind of get the Paradox experience while playing a Total War and being able to do battles as well. And obviously, I love Paradox and I love Total War, so it's kind of a bit weird on YouTube as well. Like it seems like there's no channels that really do both. Everyone just does one or the other. Which is just
hybrid red.
Yeah, which is hard for me to like. I couldn't do that because I love them both. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you are anyone who's interested in this video, first and foremost. But if
Well,
you
there's
haven't played RES, I would give it a shout. Definitely.
absolutely, and there's been a ton of ideas. I mean, I haven't watched a ton of the Imperator videos, but each time I've watched an Imperator video that you've done, it's only filled me up with ideas for the mod.
Yeah.
Like I didn't watch your cannibal eaters
Yeah.
video,
Androphages.
but even just having like a trait, like if a character in the mod is spawned and he's got that trait, maybe he's got like -5 influence
Yeah,
because
yeah.
his troops realize that he eats people.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's got more influence because they're scared of him.
Yeah, exactly. Or like it gives morale damage or something to
Oh,
the
yeah, that's a good
enemy.
idea,
Yeah,
actually.
like there's just all kinds of like connectors between games, and yeah, like I don't know. The more we talk about it, the more I'm excited. And I was being all philosophical and stuff, but I genuinely am just super excited.
Yeah.
And I hope my passion exudes over the upcoming weeks, months, as we do videos and put updates out there. I just think for being on balance, just realizing that like this is a privilege to do,
Yeah.
um, and just being thankful that I get to do it. I mean, I think that's ultimately what I was trying to get at. Is like this is a privilege to do. It's so much fun, but I want to do it knowing that everything else is going well too. I would
Yeah,
never want to
exactly.
neglect other things just to do this, but I think I'll be okay. I've gotten here. I've done this challenge. I have completed it without violation,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to the next challenge, which will be to integrate myself back in and just make sure I'm a good leader for the guys, and making sure I'm putting out a good product for all of you watching, and that we hear you, and that we understand where you guys are coming from, and that we can make this game enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds great. And I'm glad you're excited to get back in. It's great to have you back. And I can't wait to see what's coming. I mean, I know a bit of what's coming, but I'm sure these guys are can't
Yeah,
wait
we
to see more and more stuff that's coming. So yeah, I
yeah.
think that's everything. Is there anything else you wanna mention before we finish up?
No, not really. I would say the team has done a great job. I just want to give a couple special shout outs. Um, Mausolos, Jotl, Jorloff, Exy, Lusitanio, Biggest, Hadrian, Whopper, Apple. I think that's everybody. Hope I'm not missing anyone.
You got to cause controversy now.
And Disco, I think the last guy is Disco Satan. Um, those are the guys, along with Edwin from Feral, a little bit. Just guys that I stayed in contact with. I just want to say something real quick. Like, first of all, thank you for being willing to message me on WhatsApp and be in communication with me. Uh, all these guys were wonderful helps to just keeping me updated. I think if I were coming back completely in the dark as to like what's going on, I would be really anxious right now and stressed, because I feel like I'd feel overwhelmed. With the help of these guys, I've been able to access like spreadsheets, screenshots, notes, discussions. I've just been able to kind of be an observer and just kind of understand like from like a high up above the ground, like where things are at, and just kind of be a follower and a fan for once. And I've had such a blast in doing so, and I really love the YouTube videos that you guys did. And I just want to just big shout out for the team. I mean, they kept it together. Nobody left. Like none of the original members like left. And I want to give a special shout out to Whopper. Guy came in after I left and basically worked as like a project manager and kind of tried to keep things together and make sure people were on task. I've heard a lot of good things about him. And then just another special shout out would be to Jorloff. He's probably had the toughest task in cutting back this map,
Yeah.
and he's had to do it while being so busy in life. Numerous things that he's been engaged in his life that's prevented him from cutting as quick as he'd want. But he's stuck with it, and he's just been so consistent. And he's just done. I've seen some screenshots of the map of the areas he's finished. It looks great. This map, guys, is going to look so good, and we're really hoping that the limit that we reach, or the limit that we determine at the end, we really hope that it's enough to satisfy everybody. We do have a couple other ideas up our sleeves that I think was kind of leaked, unfortunately, earlier this year. But I'm not going to speak on it just out of respect for the team. We'll get to it when it comes. But I think we're going to have a release, Red, where everybody can enjoy RAS.
Yeah.
I really do. And these guys have just put their hearts and their souls into it. And I have so much respect for them. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've really thought deeply about my role and how I come across and how I lead. Like, I've really just done an introspective look into me and how can I be better? Because these guys are great. They didn't have to do this, and they kept everything going really well without me there. And I almost feel too humbled to come back and assume leadership. I almost feel like I need to just be a worker on the team, but I do know that they want me back where I was. They're looking forward to it. I just think I can do it so much better than I did before. So hopefully everybody that's on the team sticks it out to this portion of the video. If not, we'll just tell you when to start listening.
Yeah.
But I just want them to know, like, from my voice, not just like a message on Discord or something, from my voice, how much I appreciate them and how awesome they've been. I even got a little manic in that fall, and I think I bugged the hell out of Moslos and Jottle a little bit to where they thought I was going insane. And cultures, bro, just don't get me started on cultures. Um, I'll make spreadsheets.
Yeah.
They endured a lot of just constant messaging from me. So just big shout out to everybody, and I love them all, and I can't wait to get back to work with them.
Brilliant. Well, that is fantastic, and I can't wait for the next update. Obviously, guys, there's no exact release date on it yet, but hopefully it's this year. And yeah, well, I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it'll be the biggest update yet, with the Romans involved. So yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. But anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this little discussion video. I might actually put these in the podcast folder on the channel as well, but we'll see. I'll see whether that works, and we can put all the update videos. Obviously, you will be hearing from Ahowl relatively soon, in a month or so, probably for another update video. We'll see. We'll see how much work's been done since the last one. But anyway, guys,
We'll see if I haven't crashed out yet.
No, that's gonna happen, bro. Just that's inevitable. So, but anyway, we'll see. So thank you once again, guys, for watching this video. Make sure you do like and subscribe. Check out all the update videos that have come before as well in the playlist. And thank you to Ahowl for joining us. Thanks to the mod team as always, and I'll see you all again on the next video.